Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor. We're back here with another episode on One Leeds, and it's a good one, everybody. It's off the back of a 3-0 win against Harrogate Town. The League Two side put up a decent fight. Managed to catch a little bit of the highlights this morning. Put up a decent fight. Obviously, you guys know you sort of like loyalists that I unfortunately couldn't do a watch on last night. I got a review out. It wasn't the greatest because I wasn't able to watch it. But it is what it is. Everybody, family comes first and all that. Hence why this morning is just a little bit late. Just a few bits going on, as I'm sure you can imagine. For all you guys having meltdowns in the chat about a 5-minute delay, listen, go watch the video last night. Or listen, keep up with me. I was saying last night that I couldn't do it. Family bits, yada, yada, yada. Just happens, done it in life. So look, I shouldn't be doing a video last night. I shouldn't have done one. And I got told off by a fair few people in my family. And I shouldn't be doing one this morning. But I'm here for the content, people. I'm here for you guys as well. I know a lot of you guys are really excited this morning. So we're back here discussing the one, the only, Mr. Jayden Bogle. But I wanted to touch on a few other bits that we learned from last night when it came to Leeds United, when it came to some bits that felt almost like embargoed. It was really weird, like embargoed, that we found out a little bit afterwards. In terms of we figured out last night that at a certain time Max Verber is now apparently staying. It's a little bit like, what? Oh, right, okay. I thought he was being sold, which is fantastic news. Absolutely fantastic news. Guys, is this a bit dim? Hold on, let me are we all good? Are we all good lighting wise here? Let me just increase it a little bit. Here's a little bit of technology for you. Hold on a sec. Let's just increase this a bit. It seems a bit dark, doesn't it? Custom settings. Here we go. Look at this, everyone. We can go bright. We look at that. You all need your sunglasses now, don't you? You can see my bald head anyway. There we go. We're going a little bit lighter today. 700 of you in the building. How are we all doing this morning? There we go. A little bit better, a little bit brighter. You can see the light bouncing off my forehead. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Really impressive. Managed to catch a little bit last night on Charlie Crew, on Rothwell. I was asking you guys this morning on Twitter, what did you make of him? Was he press resistant, Charlie Crew? I can't profess to have seen that much of him. Did Rothwell move between the lines? Okay. Did he look like a decent runner? Was he a decent carrier with the ball? All of those things, tick, 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 bash, bash, bash. It looked like all of them played their part and looked excellent. Looked really, really good. So yeah, great to see. Fantastic to know that you do wonder about that midfield now. You do wonder if that is how Leeds are going to complete. If Rothwell, Charlie Crew, Ampadu, and Gruev are now the midfield set. It feels like with the involvement that Crew had last night. Is that it? Now, look, I thought he looked silky. I thought he looked slick. From what I managed to get. Is it enough for a 50-odd game season? Is it enough? I'd still say no. I'd still think, when we've gone in seasons before, guys, and there's been a 10 missing, there's been a left back missing, there's been a striker missing, of which there's an argument there still is. But all of these things, all these compartments where we've come on the channel, we've spoken about it, and we've said, we could do that. We could, and it's not to be greedy. It's not to be greedy. You just don't feel the puzzle's complete. Do you know what I mean when I say that, everybody? The puzzle needs to be complete going into a season. And I think we do need that midfielder. I think that midfielder has to come in. Archie's gone, who notoriously is a midfielder. Kamara's gone, midfielder. I get Cruz there. I get Rothwell's coming on loan. But I still think they need a statement sign in that midfield. I understand what everyone's talking about. That almost felt like a 4 last night where you were going, okay. Crew, very quick on the ball, I thought. Very quick in decision-making. And that, for me, is what a top player is all about. A top player can get the ball and feed it quickly. They get the ball, the decision's made. They know where the ball's going. And I felt with him, what I loved about him was his body position when he received the ball, always open, never closed. We see too many times where Gruev, as an example, his body position in the central midfield is closed. He'll go back to his man. He'll go back to the keeper. Yeah. What you always need to do when you're in the midfield, if you're a top midfielder, get the ball on the back foot, open body stance. Any midfielder will tell you that. I played midfield at a pretty decent level, was always told open body, open body, open body. And they're the best midfielders. And to his credit, Glenn Kamara's body was always open, always ready for the ball on the back foot. So, Yeah, listen, if you can do that and he can make decisions extremely quickly. I saw a lot of forward passing from Crew last night as well. Unfortunately, didn't get to see enough of Rothwell, of which I'm looking forward to seeing maybe bits of him on the Germany trip, of which I think we're going to be privy to for some games. We're going to see the highlights. Don't really know. I don't think anybody knows, to be quite honest with you. And the Valencia game on the 3rd as well, which we'll be doing a watch long here on One Leeds if you want to come and join. And hopefully at that point, Leeds United will have made a few more signings. Let's get into a couple of your comments. Who's up for a game of Bogle to celebrate? Thank you, hear you. J. Cole, absolute stonewall member of the channel. Absolute legend. Verba, Strout and Rodon will be a tasty defense. Should we get into it? Should we get into it before we get into... and listen, Craig, I need this, mate. Your haircut is okay, Connor. I remember the Sean Dyche goatee days. Horrendous. Do you know what? I comment on my hair all the time because I know you guys are going to do it. Do you know what I mean? I never have in my life. I have never had, even with this trim. You guys know, the OGs know that on this channel, I have had a massive different haircut. So I'm a bit like a woman like that. I'm always trying to change my hair. And the other day I thought, do you know what? Get it off. I don't care. Let's go for Roadman, Phil Foden, whatever. Let's just do it. Get it all off. And I knew you guys were going to kill me for it. So I just start talking about it all the time, just to give you that entry, just so you can know you can take the piss out of me. Because, listen, it's all about that on this channel. A bit of laugh as well. So let's talk. Jason's in the building. Hiya, mate. So let's get into it anyway. Verba, I want to start with. It's all positive right now. And I think that cog in midfield is just something that if we get that right, all good on the Leeds sphere. But I think when we're looking at someone like Verba, it gives Daniel Farke so many options. Like, it gives him the ability to go to a back three. I keep talking about this, and we'll get onto him. But when you've got Bogle, when you've got Firpo, where was Firpo's best moments of his career? Real Betis. Where was he playing? Left wing back. Where was Jayden Bogle's best moments of his career? Obviously, Sheffield United. But Sheffield United fans will tell you that going forward, he's very, very good. Okay? Right wing back. You don't just put him in a standard bracket of a right back, as you don't really with Firpo. So this is where the manager, and this, I think we could go to a back three. I've said it on the channel, Jay, or you guys, Jason, you all know I've said this for a month and a bit now. You can go with a back three. Verba's played in a back three at international level. Rodon's played in a back three before at Spurs. Strauk, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he has with us anyway, but he might have done in his early days in the Dutch academy. But I just fully believe that a back three is the way forward. Now, you sacrifice someone going forward, of course you do. But I know you sacrifice someone. But if you're to play Joel Peru, of which we probably will, seeing as though we signed him for 16 million quid. If you're to sign Joel Peru, if you're to play Joel Peru, I think you've got to play him with someone. And you can't have Gnonto per se, Somerville, wide left, wide right, and then Peru by himself, because he's just going to drop back and we're not going to have a focal point, right? If that is how Leeds are going to play. Now, in a three at the back, you can go with two up top. 100% you can go with a 3-4-1-2, a 3-4-2-1, a 3-4-3, but a little bit more inverted. We've got so many options up there, but I think that if you play Joel Peru, you have to have someone up there with him. You have to have someone up there with him. You play a Mateo Joseph, you don't, you can play a Sol 9, the one up top. So it gives Farke the sort of the option to go to a back three. Now, the interesting part of this right now is when Farke said what he said last night, he's going to be involved. I take his word for that. So I presume he's had a conversation with Max, and Max has said, look, yeah, I'll come back, tail between my legs a little bit, and I'll be back, and we'll get promoted. His value's going to go higher. He'll have more options next season if he wants to bail out of Leeds United. Fine, whatever. We know none of us have sentiment towards Max Verba. We don't. Come on, let's be real. But if he performs well next season, puts in captain-like performances, and he's an Austrian international who, I know he only started, was it 2 games out of 4? He scored the own goal, of course, but he's still part of Ralph Ragnick's plans in build-up from the back. That is really essential because it shows that he can build up from the back. Verba at championship level is a cheat code. It is. It really is. There's no way we'd have gone and got Joe Rodon if Verba hadn't have gone, because 100%, I mean, he was a poster boy before he left. Oh, he's staying. He gave that interview, didn't he? I believe he was in the kit, was he? I think he was at the start of the season. And that is 100% what Farke was going down. They wouldn't have got Rodon if Max hadn't have gone, because it was so reactive after Max had gone that we went and got Rodon. So if you can, I don't know who you drop. You cannot drop Strauch. You can't. And you've just brought the other lad in from Spurs for 10 million quid. And he played 50 games for his last season and was brilliant. So Max Wober, who's played Bundesliga level last season, was in Borussia Mönchengladbach's like top 2, top 3 players according to all your match rating sites that you can find. They wanted him back on a permanent transfer, not a loan, Rasmus Christensen settings, but on a permanent. And Leeds have gone, nah. Well, unless you meet 12 million quid or euros, whatever it was, you can have him. But unless you're doing that, we're not selling him. We're not selling him. We're going to get into negotiation a little bit. But that is massively positive. You can go to a back 3, but I don't get if we're in a back 4, what he's going to do. Because you can't drop Wober. You just can't. He's too good for this level anyway, which is great for us. But you can't drop him, in my opinion. There's no way Rodon's sitting on the bench. We just bought him for 10 million quid, played 50 games last season. And Strauch is our best defender, in my opinion. Especially in build-up. So, look, it's good. It's good that we've got these options. It's good that we have that. You know, I've just seen Connor say that left-back cover, keep Wober, what are defensive options? I just think it's about keeping them happy a little bit. I think it's just keeping them happy and not keeping them on the bench. And that's why I've mentioned a back 3. A back 3 helps Firpo, helps Wober. He's played there on the left side of a back 3. Rodon, he's played there at Spurs before. Strauch. I don't know who goes centrally. Maybe Strauch, because Wober's going to have to play on the left of a back 3. Rodon will have to go to the right, being a right-sided player. It's going to help Bogle. It's Bogle's best position. So if Leeds are setting up for a back 3, I love that. I absolutely love that. It shows the manager has developed, because we were all criticising him for this just mundane 4-2-3-1. And I think this season there has to be a plan B. There has to be a plan B. I know Bielsa used to say plan A, but you do it better. But, you know, Farke isn't Bielsa, with the greatest respect. So, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. Get your comments in the section below, everybody. Wober was one of the best players, best in the Prem, made Llorente and Koch look mid. The 3-4-3 worked well yesterday and gave options with the players we have currently on the books. That is something to take into consideration as well. Obviously, you guys know that I didn't watch all of the game. I think I caught about 20, 30 minutes yesterday just because of the situation. But we went to a back 3 from what I understand. That's massive. That's massive, because it shows that keeping... Because why would we keep Wober? I understand it builds the squad depth, 100%. I understand that. But Wober's not just going to sit on the bench. It's just not going to happen. You know, there's going to be attitude problems in the camp. And I'm not just attributing those attitude problems to Wober as such, but I'm saying he's not going to be happy. And when a player's evidently not happy in a club situation, it brings the morale down. The mentality is questioned on other players. It just does happen. You know, I've spoken to footballers before. It happens. So you wouldn't keep him around, I don't think. Leeds would be forcing him out if we go in and play a 4-2-3-1, because he's going to be the sacrificial lamb, isn't he? Even though he shouldn't be the sacrificial lamb, but it is what it is. I think that good Akon, hi football guru. So have to play back 3, says Shanners. There is no way you can bench all of them. Bradley says, I really think Aronson will be effective this season. Well, this is the thing, mate. If we're playing, let's say, hypothetically, right, a 3-4-3, and you've got inverted wingers, right? Inverted wingers here, right? And then you've got Peru, you know. Look, we're going to get into Joseph. This is going to be a big podcast, everybody. Before I keep waffling on, please make sure you're liking the video. Please like the video. I'm not begging for it, but it just means that it shows higher in their algorithm, and it indicates to me that you're enjoying it. If you don't like it, I always think people hate it, or they'd rather me do shorts. So please like the video. Really, really appreciate it. We've got Patreon as well, bonus content, an episode coming out tomorrow as well. Link in the description, and merchandise. But when we're looking at a forward 3, so 3-4-3, if we're looking at a forward 3, that it's going to massively aid Rothwell, 100%. We saw that in the Southampton system when they went to a back 3. It's aiding a lot of their midfield. Aribo, Smallbone, Rothwell, because they're runners. They're runners, so it's aiding that 100%. But if you've got inverted players in there, right, there's an argument they're 2 10s. So you could get away with, hear me out here, In my opinion, if you went to a 3-4-3, you literally could get away with having Aronson as an inverted 10, Rutter as an inverted 10, and Joseph. And I know we keep talking about Peru, but that is the variation in what you can actually do. And you're not even including arguably the two best technical players in the entire team. You're not even doing that in Gnonto and Somerville. Yeah. So Leeds have got to prepare, and I think that's probably what they're doing. You know, will they go out and replace Somerville if he leaves now, if we go to a back three? If it is a narrow, which at points it looked like yesterday, if we're going to a narrow 3-4-3, do you need to if you've got Aronson there? I know that sounds ridiculous, but just take a step back and think about that. We're playing a 3-4-3 in pre-season. We're keeping hold of Wober. We've got another defender in Rodon with the idea that Verber's probably staying anyway. We've gone out and bought. Look, you'll hear all the time. I was having a medical today, but you'll hear all the time that Bogle is bad defensive but good going forward. It's because he's a right wing back. He's a right wing back. Firpo, left wing back. Best moments of his career. So if I'm not mistaken, we are completely shaping up here for that. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And it's interesting that you mentioned Aronson, mate. Daryl says, interesting to see Gnonto and Cree have a run out. Just look like they're on another level. Yeah, look, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The big elephant in the room, because I know a lot of people don't want to speak about it because Gnonto might be going. We had Chris Beasley on the channel from the Echo the other day. Everton are massively interested. Interestingly, Everton's, I think it was the Friedrich group, have not managed to get the takeover sorted with Everton, which is massive. I don't know whether or not that puts them in a bit of financial problems when it comes to being able to afford certain personnel. You know, does the Onana money, if that, you know, is obviously happening with Aston Villa, does that Onana money then go into, as we've had to do with Archie Gray, a little bit of financial, you know, a financial pot instead of a transfer kitty? But the whole point there is, you know, you have to say this. Dan's playing, Rutter's playing, whatever. Willie Gnonto and Crysencio Somerville were on a different level yesterday. It is so abundant. And of course they are. They're playing against Harrogate Town, but I'm talking about even against aligned with their peers. Different level. And this is the thing with Gnonto. I've mentioned several times that Dan deserves to start, Dan James. He was brilliant last season. Energy, endeavour, dependability, reliability, goals, assists, right? Fantastic last season. Surprised me. 100%. The step down definitely helped him. He wouldn't be able to do that in the Prem, in my opinion. Willie Gnonto has such a high ceiling. He has such a high ceiling. He's so young. We all forget how young he is right now. I think what's putting top teams off, or at least, you know, top 10 Prem teams, is his valuation, 100%. And the fact last season he didn't have a great season. But a lot of that, we have to be honest, attitude at the start of the season, an injury, yeah, where he missed big portions of the season. I thought when he came in, he did okay. I thought he had some highlight moments of the season, Bristol City, Millwall, etc. Now, if he's playing like he did in the Premier League when he was the star man, I know assists and goals wasn't great, but it's the Premier League. It's a completely different standard, but he was the star man. We've got to really take a step back and look right now. If this lad is to play 40 games next season, if we keep hold of him, and he plays 40 games, right? Minimum 35 games, 35, 40 games. No inconsistencies, which for some reason isn't a talking point with Gnonto, which I don't really like. It's, you know, it can be a talking point with other players, but not Gnonto, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because some Leeds fans are like, nah, get rid of him because of his attitude at the start of last season, which is fine, I guess. But, you know, I'm willing to give him a little bit more time than that because of who he is and his ability. He's a better footballer than Dan James. Facts. Miles better footballer than Dan James. Dan James's form played himself into the team. But Willie Gnonto has a Premier League trajectory. He has a top-level trajectory. I'm still yet to believe that Dan James has that. So when we're looking long-term, the long-term projection of this wonderful football club in the Premier League with Red Bull 49ers, we are going to be there at some point, in my opinion, in the next 5 years. If we are there in the next 5 years, Willie Gnonto is just going to be a massive asset, a huge asset. Dan James will 100% be a bench option in the Premier League. Look, we all have to face facts. That's how it's going to be. He might do it at this level, but Gnonto is the option in the Premier League. So you're looking at it last night and you're thinking, if we can get him on the field, if we can get him on that grass for 95% of the season, 90% of the season, Gnonto is going to do some serious damage. Some serious damage. What I love as well is they can both change. If it's not working for Somerville on one side, he can go to the other side. I'm not 100% sure Dan James can go on the left and produce as many moments as he does on the right. I think Somerville and Gnonto give you that ability to interchange on either side, which I think is absolutely ridiculous in terms of this level. By the way, this is on the pretense that we keep both of them, which I'm still always a little bit like, like it's even daft, everybody. If we go and pepper Valencia 6-0 at home, which I'm not saying we will, but if we pepper Valencia 6-0 at home, best believe there's going to be some scouts in there watching some of our best players anyway, like Bournemouth were with Sinistera, many other clubs were with Sinistera, and even Somerville last season in pre-season. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Dan James' attitude is way better than Gnonto, says Don James. Yeah, listen, Don, look, I don't disagree with you, but we can't be having a conversation about him being a better footballer than him. He's not. He is not. He's not. Dan is quick. He's energetic. I've told you about his endeavour, 100%. But the big thing in football, in my opinion, is composure and decision-making. Gnonto's, in my opinion, on a different level to Dan James when it comes to those two things. Everything else, energy, endeavour, passion for the shirt maybe, drive, that extra 10%, I would give it to Dan James. But I think on a footballer technical perspective, it's Gnonto all day, from my perspective. So look, it is what it is, unfortunately, but it's not unfortunate at all because he gives us a massive option in that regard. Great signing, shout out to you, Lofts. Not seen you for a while. Dow says brilliant summary of those two, Connor. Spot on, mate. Really appreciate that, my friend. As I say, I love these chats, and when we've got loads to talk about, like we have today, it's fantastic for you guys to maybe teach me some stuff, maybe me to explain some things that, my old man is an example of it. He doesn't really get the tactical side of the game. I'm not saying I'm a tactical guru, by the way. I'm not whatsoever. But I do I do feel like I read the game all right. My dad just doesn't really have a clue on that side of things in terms of tactical formation. So I know there's a lot of people who are probably in around my dad's age, or at least I can convey that information to a little bit. That's not being patronizing or condescending, because you lot would teach me so many things. But as my dad does. So yeah, I think it's key to get that in there. Okay, so what do we need to talk about right now as well? I wanna discuss Eddie Gray. Okay, so, and it's not an I told you so, of course it's not, but I have to say, with all the sensationalist takes of Eddie and Linda and Harry and Andy, and I can't remember his I used to have a member of the family who taught both Grays in Harrogate. Both Grays in Harrogate. I can't remember what school they went to. But I used to have a friend who taught both of them, and his mum's called like Georgina, I think. Georgina. So all of them lot, anyway. None of them like Leeds anymore. They're disgusted with what happened to Archie Gray. We have to talk about this. We have to. Hated what went on with Archie Gray. They're going to take Harry straight out of the academy when it is deemed fit. We were hearing that Harry was going to be potentially even sold this summer, or was going to go down to Spurs with Archie. Rumours on that as well. Now, from my perspective, it didn't look like that yesterday, did it? It's our first preseason. Eddie looked in great spirits. I had a couple of mates who were there last night. Obviously, when the debacle was going on with my family last night, I was messaging them, what's going on? How's the game? Blah, blah, blah. And they said, they were laughing when they came in. They were taking pictures with fans. Linda was beaming. And they looked absolutely bowled over with pride when Harry came on with a big grin on his face. Now, looks can be deceptive. But to me, in my opinion, if there was like a revolt going on, they wouldn't have turned up. Harry would have obviously played football 100%. Harry would have come on the pitch, but there might have been a little bit of murmurings after the game about Leeds not being able to keep hold of him if that was the case. That was the case. Look, I know fan channels are reactive. I don't really see myself as a fan channel, to be honest. It was just a name I came up with at the start, but it is what it is. But from a personal perspective, I just thought that was absolute hysteria. And I feel like I was constant on the channel and took a lot of heat for it. Oh, Red Bull are paying you off, or Red Bull are this, that, and the other. You know, you're in bed with Red Bull, because I dared to sort of take the other side, which was, okay, are we, because Archie's been sold, are we now hotting this up to be the 49ers have come in, they're trying to just asset strip us, they hate the club, they're going out, they're selling all our youth. And I just thought it was a bit too reactive. So listen, the overall point is it was fantastic. I thought it was fantastic to see all of them there. Linda smiling, Eddie smiling as well. Apparently Andy was there last night. All good stuff, you know. Harry came on, looked a little bit zippy, didn't he? 15 years of age. It's a great moment. It's a great moment for the club, again, to have the Gray dynasty once again rolling out another player. And we have to remember with Archie Gray, once again, they negotiated a release clause in January. And if that was met, if Leeds didn't go to the Premier League, he was always leaving. Okay. So, yeah, it was great to see it. It's great to see people come back down to earth a little bit. And let's move on with that, I think. I think it was, yeah, Ryan. Sorry, not that, another comment I just saw, but I'll read yours out as well, mate. Didn't Archie have a release clause inserted into his contract? Why would and this is exactly it, mate. I feel, and this is why I was quite bullish about it, because it was very much like it felt everybody was one-sided, and I thought you've got to give a bit of balance here, mate. You've got to give a bit of balance here, because I remember seeing the comment section on the stream, Red Bull this, Red Bull that, 49ers this, 49ers that, and I was thinking, right, this is going to be hard, but hopefully, and there's a lot of you guys who also saw the other side of it, so that's good. Okay, Harry Gray. St. John Fishers is the schoolmate. There you go, James. Yeah, as I say, my mate was teaching there, and taught. I think it was primary school. It was Archie and Harry, and yeah, it was Georgina, I think, and Andy, obviously the parents. There you go. A little bit of insider knowledge. Don't think it is. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, what you all here for? Super Jayden Bogle. Super J. Super. There we go. It looks like Jayden Bogle. We've got to talk about the negotiation. Let's get some tick points off, everybody. Okay, so we have stripped. Oh, we've got to speak about something else as well. Mr. Mateo Joseph. We're getting onto that in just a bit, but stripping a massive rival of one of their best players. Facts. Stripping your massive rivals of one of their best players. Getting him for under 5 million quid. Okay. So, like, for me, like, that is very good. Under 5 million quid. When we were negotiating, the whole aspect was, the whole problem apparently was that Leeds, the second bid was rejected, which was said to be 4.5 million quid. I came on here on a video the other day and was saying, look, they've got to get this done. They've got to get this done. And the reason I was saying that was because how often have we seen it where Leeds have waited, and then it goes. Look, it happens. Let's not change history here. It happens. Bogle had 12 months left on his deal. 5 million quid, right? They wanted 7. Facts. I know that for a fact. If you guys go on my Twitter and see maybe who I tried to speak to the other day, you'll see that, that we've had conversation on there. 7 million was the line. Fact, right? So Bogle and co wanted the move. His agent wanted the move. Representatives want the move. And they said that from the start. From the very start, Sheffield United, he wanted to go to Leeds. 12 months left on his deal, but there were other clubs in for him, right? And this was what I was worried about yesterday. I did a video yesterday saying, look, we've got to act now. Rasmus has gone. Archie's gone. Roberts has gone. All the right backs have gone. We need to start making moves on Jayden Bogle when he's there. It's the biggest open goal you'll ever get. Kept mentioning it on Twitter. It is an open goal. Player wants the move. Reps want the move. 12 months left on his deal. Open goal. Put it in. Don't do a Bamford, right? So it looks like, from what we're hearing, he's going to Leeds today for a medical. Happy Saturday. Asset stripped one of our main rivals next season, which I do think Sheffield United will be. And the beauty of it is, as I mentioned to you guys before, it feels like we're going to switch up the formation a little bit, which is excellent. Absolutely excellent. So last night we got 2 signings, really. Wober, new signing, and Bogle, if it goes through, new signing. I cannot for the life of me believe some of the, even from Leeds fans, guys, even from Leeds fans, he's not good enough. What? What? Should we just go get who are we there? Are we doing what's the level? Should we go and get Hakimi? What are we talking about here? Jaden Bogle is more than good enough for Leeds United, people. More than good enough. And Mr. Bielsa, let's revert back to that. An absolute flying right back. Would have loved someone like Jaden Bogle if, the predecessors had have actually given him some money. 23 years of age, bags full of time to improve, done the Championship before, done the Premier League. We can talk about him defensively, but where was he playing? All of this is judged on when he was 21, 22 years of age in my French, it's going to affect my monetization, unfortunately, but it is what it is. A shite Sheffield United side when he's been in the Premier League. Shite team, which is still, I think, had Oliver Norwood in it for 10, 15 years who couldn't run. Look, there was no real adaptability, I thought, when Sheffield United got to the Premier League in the 2 consecutive times they did. Really. No adaptability. No real change in investment in the side. That was to do with off-the-pitch issues, owners, yada, yada, yada. But that didn't really happen. So this has been the whole controversy with Sheffield United. But letting Jaden Bogle go when we were told that it was going to be flat rate 7 and above for him to leave. There was Sheffield United fans saying we'll only let him go for 10, right? Which is ridiculous with 12 months left on his deal. Right? Never going to happen. But to get him for 5. So the second bid was 4.5 mil. So to get him for 5 mil for the third bid. Now, Parag at the start said he was a shrewd negotiator. To get him, age he's at, where he's from, which we all know has got tax on it, Premier League player, which he has been, Championship top 3 right backs, 100%, in my opinion. Better signing than Max Aarons would have been, 100%. And for 5 million, that you've got to look at Parag and go, okay, yeah, you've done all right there, mate. You've done really well there. I didn't expect that. You guys didn't expect that. We were all talking about it being pay up the next 3, pay up 3.5, pay up 2.5, just get it done. I was saying the exact same thing. He's literally gone. He's put his slippers on and go, no, I'll go 0.5. And you'll deal with it. 0.5. I know you're bluffing. You need money. Your takeover's not gone through. He's got 12 months left on his deal. Daniel Levy-esque. You turn around and go, nah, we'll go 5. And that's your lot. And there you go. But once again, everybody, what we have learned from this whole saga is it's not drip-fed through Leeds. It's all from the other journalists. It's from Nathan Hemmingham. It's from the Star. It's from the lad last night that we had on, something more, I think, who was on the part of the Sheffield Star and broke the news. Andy Moore, I think it was. It's all from that side. Where did we learn the Everton stuff? With Gnonto, Chris Beasley, Elva Bobble, Alan Myers, Fabrizio Romano. Nothing comes from Leeds. Nothing. This is why on this channel, I'm always going to try reach out to other people and say, look, have you heard this? And what is there any truth to this? Because it's never going to be leaked from the Leeds side. It's just not going to happen. Great signing, says Lofts. Let's have a look. It's crazy. It says Ishi. Look at Firpo in the Championship compared to the Premier League. He'll thrive at this level. Leeds United old school. It says, I've never seen him play. Better than Ayling. Best around 2020. Ooh, Leeds United old school. Great question. Different. Really different, I'd say. But nonetheless, top. At this level, like Premier League, we can have another conversation. You know, is he good enough? Blah, blah, blah. I personally think he is in around a better side. Context, everybody. Please, we're all taking the mick out of Sheffield United last season. All of us. And I know he makes up a defence. Of course I do. But as I've mentioned before, he's more of a right wing back. And I would argue, well, no, it's facts. Leeds had a better defence in the Championship than Sheffield United had in the Premier League. So the makeup around a player has to be good. We've seen that with Ethan Ampadu, who's got 3 relegations on his CV. Does that mean Ethan Ampadu's a bad player? No. He's the perfect example. Shit. 3 relegations on his CV. Remember it all from last season. He's shit. 3 relegations on his CV. Not good enough. Why would Chelsea let him go? Why is there no one else in for him? Bought him in for £7 million. Arguably the best player in the Championship last season. Arguably. Yeah? So you can't just judge Bogle on a Premier League campaign with Sheffield United where they were just absolutely abhorrently bad across the pitch. You defend from the front as well. You don't just defend from the back. They couldn't defend anything. You know what I mean? It was a bowling ball going through a poppadom. So I get that he's part of that. I understand that. But let's not judge him on that. Let's judge him when he puts on a white shirt, touch wood, passes the medical, and then we'll have a look at him. As we saw with Ampadu when he was at Venezia, when he was at Sheffield United, you know, when he was on his loan spells, it didn't work for him. He's come to Leeds United and he looks a different beast. A different beast. So it's all about, a lot of it is about environment. A lot of it is about environment and where you're at. The buzz looking clean, broski. Jonathan, my guy. Thanks, my friend. Need all the compliments I can get with this. Let's have a look. Medical's supposed to be on now. Heard rumor about Schmodix. Is that BS? Okay, let's get into Schmodix. And Joseph. Remind me in the chat. Keep putting Joseph in. Spam Joseph. Let's have a quick look at this. Won't you complain about his defending like you did with Firpo? See, you need to see context. How about that? Firpo's notoriously not been a good defender, right? But he dropped down a level. As I say, I'll flash up your comments if you disagree. At least say what I said. Don't lie about what I said and put it into context, okay? Firpo is a tragic Premier League defender and he's proven it, right? Proven. Poor Premier League defender. What you do have to apply to it, though, is it was the environment, like I've just done with Sheffield United. The environment around Junior Firpo, 3-4 different managers in the span of 2 or 3 years or whatever it was. Not great for him. The problem with Junior Firpo is positionally, which I feel is innate when you're a defender, is awful. Still is in the Championship, still not great, but he doesn't get punished. Doesn't get punished. It's like Dan James on the right-hand side. Pop shots. He might have 5. No one will notice, but one of them might creep in. Yeah, you get more chances. You get more opportunities in the Championship. You get more opportunities to recover in many aspects. Junior Firpo's had that. He was caught out multiple times last season and wasn't punished. Or Leeds were able to recover the ball. In the Premier League, he was caught out because he was a poor defender. Positionally, he's not good. We all know that, okay? But he gives you more than the lesser parts of him in the Championship. In the Premier League, I wouldn't be having Junior Firpo at left back because he's a poor defender at that level. And there'll be a conversation about Jayden Bogle, of course there will. But we've got to talk about the here and now. We have just put into context Sheffield United, which I think is massively key. We have to do that because of how bad they were as a unit defending and have been for a while now when they've been in at the top level. Of sort of the anomaly being that sort of ghost VAR goal sort of pre-COVID season where they're actually really good. But, you know, you have got to take it into context. The team which was in and around Firpo was poor. It was. But positionally, he isn't a good defender. He gets very tight, in my opinion. Gets really tight and aggressive, and that serves you well in the Championship. The Premier League, you're tight and aggressive. They flip the ball around you and you're giving away, and you're getting a yellow card. That used to happen with Junior Firpo week in, week out, because he did not know how to properly defend. Positionally, poor. So, yeah, there's a bit of an answer to that question. Yeah, appreciate that, my man. Is karma creeping around? Connor, the thing is, you're all getting me sidetracked. You're getting me sidetracked. Right, we'll get on to it. Let's get on to Tyler Adams, okay? What we do have to say about Tyler Adams, I'm not gloating because I do not want any football player to go through injury. It shouldn't happen. But how bad this guy was when it came to Leeds United, which I couldn't believe when someone told me the lengths this guy was willing to go to after being Captain America at our football club and saying, I'm going to be back next season. Yeehaw! The lengths this guy was going to get out of Leeds almost put Sinisterra to shame. That's how bad it was from what I've been told. Okay. So the fact that he's gone to Bournemouth, and I'll put it this way, it hasn't quite worked for him and is going to continue to not quite work for him. There is some satisfaction in that. Let's leave it at that. Okay. Morning, Connor. Morning, all Leeds United fans. How you, pal? Hope you're all good. Why are we talking about? Yeah, a brief talk about Tyler Adams. But yeah, let's talk about Mateo to get like all the good vibes back. Monster. Put him as number 9. Daniel, please keep him there. I don't want to see. Look, guys, there's nearly 2,000 of you in the building. Like the video as well, everybody. He's a young boy, right? He's come through the ranks. How he speaks, how articulate he is, how he just wants to do well for the club. Have you noticed that in every interview he does? Almost, I love this club. I want to do well for this club. He could just say, I want to do well for this club. He's on the end of everything. Listen to him. Listen to him when he's doing his interviews, even with Radio Leeds last season. It's all about Leeds. I want to play for this great club. I want to start and do well for Leeds United. Not just I want to start and progress my career. I want to do this for Leeds United. The guy, like, looking at him now from a gym rat and a previous PT that I have been, how he's filled out, that is dedication, that is commitment, consistency, and momentum. It's all wrapped into one. All of it wrapped into one. He, right now, I think last season he developed massively with his shoulders and his upper body, delts, everything looked bigger, right? This season, when I was looking at him on that interview, I cannot believe how much he's filled out even more here. I didn't think there was a level up he could have gone as a footballer, because footballers notoriously, especially attacking footballers, you sort of really, your max is 12 stone. You don't want to be above 12 stone, especially with how much footballers run nowadays, which is sort of 12K per game, 10 to 12K a game. You've got to be light. That's why we can't do 5-a-side and 11-a-side anymore, because we're all like 14 stone. But I'm really surprised by how much he's filled out. I love that because there's dedication. There's one footballer who we've mentioned so many times on this channel who has failed to do that. And I don't want to go down that too much because I don't want to hammer him, because he's now a Leeds player, obviously formerly of the Bundesliga last season. But when you've seen Joseph do what he's done in 2 seasons, development-wise, when you've seen what he did last season when he was given minutes, not just the effort, the pressing, and the results we got from it, club and country. Yeah. Celebrate. Oh man, I just love his celebrations as well. Gives me sort of just like that, like Luis Suarez, sort of like 12, 13, 14 seasons. He just loves it. And I think everything about him, what attribute hasn't he got that's going to worry centre backs? So he's physical, he's athletic, he's not afraid, raw, as I've just mentioned, no fear, technically a good player, runs in behind, comes short, can get an assist, good striker of the ball. There is no excuses not to play this guy. He's better than Patrick Bamford. He's a better footballer. He's got every attribute. And why would you start Bamford ahead of him? Why? Bamford holds the ball up. What does that mean? He holds the ball up. I understand that is an attribute of Patrick Bamford's that has been hailed for now on the past 10 years. But you've got a boy here who's ready to catapult, right? And look, it might not go well for him. It might be, he might play this season and it might not be great for him. But at least try it. And if you try it, you're not going to get criticisms from Leeds fans. If we start seeing the same thing again, Pat Bamford have a little bit of a streak, everybody get really excited, and then he'll be injured, and then he'll get 3 goals in 20 games. that happens again. Stick with Bamford. No, not stick with Bamford again. Let's not do that. Let's move on. Let's move on from what we were because it's not good enough. It's never been good enough. It was good for one season. That was it. And, whatever. But Peru is interested in this conversation. Of course he is. Peru is interested in this conversation. What do you do if you go to a back three? Can you go to a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-2-1? 3-4-2-1 is interesting, actually, because if you did that with Joel Peru, that's exactly what was played when he was at Swansea at points. So there'd be Jamie Patterson, there'd be Peru in the 10s, which you'd probably see Aronson and Peru. And then you had Obafemi on loan from Burnley. So you had 2 and then 1. So that could work with Peru with the back 3. Yeah, that could 100% work. The problem is with Peru is you've got him in the 10. This is the massive issue with him. He's not a number 9. So you've got Rutter and you've got Peru and you've now got Aronson, who are probably going to be in and around that number 10 spot. Aronson's got to be benched. Impact player. But then the conversation is really, if you're playing a 3 at the back, who do you pick, in my opinion, with Rutter and Peru? Because it's got to be Joseph up front. It's got to be Joseph up front for me. Let's have a look. I wonder if anyone would do a swap deal for Paddy, maybe a bottom 3 Prem side. Do you know what it is, mate? If it's a bottom 3 Prem side, they've got to take on 40 plus grand a week. They will have to pay a transfer fee, and you've got a striker who's on the wrong side of 30. That's how we should be looking at it, But the problem is he's not going to move. If I'm Pat Bamford and I've got 2-3 years left on my deal because the idiots gave him like a 400-year contract before, taking him to 33 because he had a good season. It takes him to 33 years of age. I don't think he's going to get that anywhere else. He's not. We've seen the problems with Coops right now. Coops is having massive issues in terms of getting a long-term contract because no one will give him a long-term contract at the age he's at. He's 32? Nobody's willing to give me a long-term contract. That's been the problem with Sheffield United and Blackburn. Huge problems. So he's not sorted as of yet because he's not managed to get that deal sorted in terms of longevity. Apparently, there's a press embargo on pre-season in Germany. Can I do an FPL league on it? Sam, honestly, mate, if you link me the way of doing it, pal, I can do it. Sorry, Schmodix. Yeah, I need to get into this, Darren. So Sam Schmodix. I was up on it at the beginning of the season. I was, but I think you've maybe got to take a step back. And I think it's when Aronson's come back with Schmodix as well. If Leeds were to go out, let's say hypothetically, and spend what's going to get Schmodix out at Blackburn, lower ebb championship squad, probably struggling for funds a bit. Plus 10, right? Plus 10 on Sammy Schmodix. You got Peru. If you're playing a 3-4-3, you have to sacrifice a front man, right? You've got Peru, Gnonto, Somerville, Rutter, Gelhardt, almost vying for the number 10 or like 2 behind the striker. Why would you go and get Sammy Schmodix? Or if you do get Sammy Schmodix, there's going to have to be some serious movement. Serious movement. Like if Somerville went, and you need to replace that impact, and then you're just going to play like 2 inverted 10s, like a 3-4-3. Struggled then. And then you've got the 2 10s behind the striker. I can see why Schmodix would be an investment. But then Peru is a £16 million player, doesn't get on the pitch. Or does get on the pitch, but it'd be an impact sub, wouldn't he? Rutter would then have to start. Then what do you do with none? So it depends what we do with a front 3, but you do have to sacrifice someone going forward because you're solidifying at the back. And that's where Bogle and that's where Firpo will be really important as wing backs. But yeah, this is why you're overloaded when you play a 3-4-3 as well, because you're overcompensating for the back, which is fine, but you've got to sacrifice that front man. Dubai, you impressed me last night. Did he H? Okay, yeah, let me know, man. I didn't see a lot of him, so interesting. Matt says, I'd love us to continue in a 3-4-2-1 formation. They're saying 6 mil. Says Professor. Harrison will be playing, replacing Peru. So yeah, everyone. I mean, yeah, let us know. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Anyway, Sam, I'll have a look at that, mate. I will have a look at that. Don't worry about that. But that's going to be it from me. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a cracking episode. If I have to say so myself, you know, my reflection with you guys, it's been brilliant. Conversational points, asking me to talk about Joseph, Sammy Schmodix, Peru. Thank you so much. It's a real collaborative thing, this. I wouldn't be able to go for as long as I do if it wasn't for you guys. But it's all good. It's all good. We've spoken about Linda and Eddie Gray, the 49ers, Red Bull expectancy. We've spoken about Mateo Joseph has to be the number 9. Has to be. We've spoken about Jayden Bogle. We've spoken about multiple things as well. Guys, I have to say, before you go, please like the video. You know, we've been going for 50-odd minutes and I've not asked you. I think I've asked you once. But like the video. It means a hell of a lot to me. It means that, you know, I know you're enjoying it. You know, if you want me to go for longer, I can be pause. My girlfriend asked me that a lot of time anyway. Smut, rubbish, Connor, awful. Don't bring that to the channel. I apologize. But yeah, look, like the video, comment afterwards as well. Even if you disagree with me, I can passionately disagree with you, but we'll never fall out over it. Of course we won't. Really appreciate you all popping round for this one. Hopefully it's been a good start to your Saturday. It's been a good start to mine as well. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. I'm going to go play paddle. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think I'd be a bit more aerodynamic with this tennis ball head? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. And I will see you on the other side. Cheers.